So you broke your knee the same time? Well, at least you're on strike, right? I guess.
No, that's
but
what people say.
oh,
Before
oh,
the strike.
okay.
Hey, all right. And just like that, we're recording. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
I did not survive the trip. Well, and just like that, folks, we are kicking off our last day here at Small Bore Barber Vintage. I am here with Colin this morning. He left yesterday. He says, "Hey, how's 8 a.m. tomorrow for you?" And I said, "Great." How are you doing? Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, glad to be here.
And so we're at Small Bore, wrapping out. We've learned heaps about it. And what is your role at this experience?
Well, I'm the manager of PR for Honda, so I do all of our events, like everything from new model launches to product loans for media, everything. So just trying to get the word out about our products, basically.
Well, and so I've learned with these small bore bikes, you guys kind of run the show in this land, and that's Grom's, that's, these vintage bikes. Like, you guys have 95% essentially of the market space.
Yeah, so I mean we've got the Grom, of course, Navi, Monkey, Super Cub, which those are the more like retro ones and everything, and even like the new like Trail 125, which is like a spitting image of the original like Trail 110s and stuff, Trail 90, and it's been just a huge success for us, right? All those bikes are just selling awesome. Everybody loves them. I mean, I always joke like you can't if you ride like a Grom or a small bike and you're not smiling when you're done, motorcycling might not be for you, right?
Yeah.
But it's just fun. You can't not have a good time when you're out riding them.
That seems to have been the consistent message this weekend, is that this isn't your typical chopper fest. This isn't your race weekend. This is literally just guys showing up that aren't led by the throttle, that they're just smiles like ear to ear.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the biggest thing about these bikes is, I mean, you can see it here, right? Everything from stretched, lowered, custom, everything to something that somebody's got, 5 times what the bike even cost them originally into it, to some guy who's just like, this is my backwoods trail bike and I'm taking it out in the woods. So it's such a cool event in that sense.
Do you guys have an initiative when you, because from my vantage point, I've seen Grom be such a gateway drug into motorcycles, because they're not intimidating, they're fun, even the name is fun. You hop on it, you can't not smile. It's like a Sea-Doo, out in the water. Like, good luck trying not to smile on a Sea-Doo.
Right.
Is it part of a plan that you guys get them in on a Grom, and then you're like, how about an Africa Twin?
That is definitely like the goal, right? I guess kind of the Grom, the way it started was a little bit of a surprise, right? That model came out in 2014, and we knew it would be pretty popular, but we had no idea how popular. Like, we had dealers, calling us and be like, hey, I got pre-orders for 30 of these things and I'm getting like 6 of them. And so at that point, I think we really kind of took a big picture and look at it and been like, man, this is a really good platform. People love it. So we just went all in on it. And that's the goal, right? You're trying to get younger people into motorcycling, right? You have an older demographic of motorcyclists that are getting to they're riding bigger bikes, right? They're riding Africa Twins, they're riding Gold Wings.
They're riding that couch down the road.
That's right. And but the small bikes are an awesome platform to get people in, right? Get the as the bug, as you say, right? You get it in, and then they'll be a kind of a customer, a motorcyclist for life, and we hope that they continue to buy Hondas, of course. So.
Well, and so you guys have the full gamut of machine in it. What is the market share of Grom in your world? You're like, wow, this is actually not just a Ripple. This is a Kerplunk.
If you take Grom, for example, right, it's been our top selling street bike pretty much since it came out, right? And it was overtaken for like a year by our Navi, which is like a 110 automatic mini moto, which is great because say you have somebody who's like, their friend has a Grom or your family has a little mini moto, and like, I want to get into it, but I've never driven a clutch or something like that. That's a great platform for them to start, right? They can get the basics down, balance, all those kinds of things, and then, step up like, I'm going to get a Grom after I've gotten used to this one. And so that's kind of what we want, is to allow people to kind of step up and learn through the pattern. So.
Well, it's interesting, an event like this, it seems that you can start on a Grom and then stay on a Grom. And then now people are showing up in such a way to, outfit you for whatever your experience be on a Grom. You blew the hill climb yesterday. Everybody was out there.
Yeah. That's what. That's our hope, right? Is that we almost tell people like, hey, the stock Grom is like a blank canvas, right? Even though it's got a lot of good features and it's an awesome bike, affordable, but it's just a starting point. I mean, you could see everything. Nobody has anything.
What is that
here.
entry price?
So $35.99 for the Grom. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, and I mean, you can get a like our Navi is under $2,000, right? So I mean, someone who's like, man, I don't have a ton of extra money. I have some disposable, and I just want something I want to play around with or get around with. That's a great start too. So, yeah.
Last night there was Motorcycle Missions put on a lovely show. Had a bunch of custom Groms and bikes of the like, as well as dinner, and then there was an auction. And your boy had a great day yesterday, and unfortunately for Rodney Sargent, who was running the show, he did not have a great evening as far as the PA was concerned. So I was sitting in the back, and I couldn't quite hear what was going on. I ended up buying a motorcycle.
Oh, no way.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I as you describe a Navi, I go, man, maybe I should have got a Navi. But they were describing what was a Grom in front of them, and pointing at it, but I couldn't quite hear them. And so when the bid came back as $1,000, I was like, wow, that's a really good deal for a Grom. I chimed in at $1,250. I did not buy a Grom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hindsight and such, a Navi would have been the way to go, but it's gonna be for my lady, so it worked out.
Good.
I'm excited because she's my real world scenario of a new rider.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's been able to visit scenes like these with me, and so she's clearly interested. But her riding has, been a dirt bike along the way, maybe.
Okay.
And so it'll be interesting to kind of first person perspective, see her growth into the space.
Yeah, right. Get like that, it's kind of I don't want to use the analogy like it's a gateway drug, right? But it's kind of that's how a lot of the mini moto stuff is for people, right? You kind of get like, oh man, this is so much fun, right? Like I'm just smiling ear to ear, and that kind of what grips you to become a motorcyclist for your life. So
well, and I've had the fortune to run a handful of lovely interviews here on this couch, and I would say 8 out of 10 times it starts with my first bike was a Honda. Is that what's that history? Because these bikes don't quit, like they're still running. And so one, from the vantage point of like, all right, well, we need to buy new bikes, and granted we make great product, but that's such a rich history.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
So a little bit like Honda started in the U.S. with small bikes, right? That 60s, 70s time period. That's how we kind of started as a company, right? We all started with small bikes, and that's what we were bringing and developing. And then this is kind of a resurgence, right? It's kind of history repeating itself. But that's been a story for so many customers, right? And I mean, myself included, right? My first bike was a Honda 50, and so many people have had that same experience that they continue to move throughout their motorcycling lifetime, right? But a lot of people end up coming back to the Honda because of, we're known for reliability and all that stuff. When you want to go out and kick that thing over, fires right up, push that button, it's going to fire up. But all of that, those little bikes that people started on when they were kids and got to ride, on their little back trails or around their back roads, anything like that. And then that just continues throughout their life, right? Then it's something they remember. And when you ride the little bike, it almost brings that mindset back, right? You're riding a Grom and you're like, man, I feel like the same feeling that I had as a kid when I was cruising around. So that's the cool part.
Well, I was just thinking, I was like, man, I've never been a Honda guy, and I say that I have 2 Honda generators.
All right,
right outside right now,
that,
keeping the lights on. What and forgive my ignorance, what is the history? So Honda, I hear Honda. This is a Japanese company. This has been around since the.
Yeah, so we started in the late 50s, right? Came over into the United States, and Mr. Honda was actually kind of forward-thinking in that sense, right? When they started in Japan, kind of making engines on bicycles, right? That's how it really started. But they were starting to expand outside of Japan, right? They were recovering from World War II era, that kind of situation. And Mr. Honda had come to the U.S. and come to, parts of Asia and Europe and everything, and kind of saw the whole world and was like, man, where should we start? And he actually took an interesting perspective and said we should go to the United States first, right?
Well,
that's where we should go. Yeah,
a Japanese brand saying that's interesting.
It's because he could have looked at something like a Southeast Asian company that sells a ton of small bikes already, and said, hey, that's an easy market to step into. But he had a mindset like to go all in, and it was, if we can make it in America, we can make it anywhere. And so they did, right? Started our first kind of U.S. subsidiary, American Honda, which started in Southern California, and it's pretty much just been an avalanche since then. So now it's, I mean, exploded here. You know, largest motorcycle manufacturer on the planet, and I mean,
Wow.
you know, something we're super proud of to be able to provide that to everybody.
So he saw America as the place to rise and shine. Is it still influencing decisions for what you guys are creating and putting out? It's like you always consider America, because, like, you know, there's a lot of companies, like if you're Italian, if, you know, wherever you're coming from, they're like, America, but they do it, but, like, you know, we know what's going on. Do you guys cater to the American market?
Yeah, so Honda has an interesting perspective in that they develop bikes for the kind of most popular market, right? So, like we also make, like you said, you have a generator, right? We make ATVs and side-by-sides. Since the U.S. is the major market, those are all designed in Ohio. You know, we're the largest employer in the state of Ohio.
Whoa.
So,
What city is that?
Marysville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
so
submit
it's-
your res. Get in there.
And then, you know, a lot of that stuff is manufactured in North and South Carolina. I mean, we have factories that, I mean, we make, you know, everybody knows cars, right? It's kind of the automobile division has become such a big part of Honda as well. But, you know, such a high percentage of our products that are sold in the U.S. are built here. The motorcycles can be, some of the motorcycles can be a little different, right? We build them, some are built in Japan, some are built in Thailand, some are built in Europe. But when they're doing the R&D, they go to the country that's like, man, this country is where we sell the most. Let's go get the feedback, right?
Got it.
Like literally last 2 days, like our R&D team and executives came here to this event, right? And they walked around, they checked everything out.
From Japan?
Yeah, yeah.
They go, we want to go to Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah, but Honda has a saying. It's called "Go to the spot," right?
Okay.
It's a part of kind of Honda's like
Ethos.
values and ethos, and so it's always like go to the location, go to where the customer's at, go see it for yourself, and then they take that feedback back to the R&D team, whether it be in Ohio, Japan, Thailand, everywhere, and make sure that that translates into the product as it kind of comes off the line.
Whoa. So then what has your experience been in this space? How long have you been with Honda, and how much influence does Colin get
I mean,
when he
I've
goes
been
to the spot?
So I've been with Honda for 11 years, right? And I started doing in the complete opposite, right? I do the PR side now, but I started in a very like behind the scenes job in the quality department. So we were working with like the factory and R&D to resolve any kind of quality issue that comes up.
QC.
Yeah, and then coming over to the PR side, it's the same. It's a little bit different. Right? You're more of the public face. You're kind of out there helping promote the product. But I'm a core Honda guy from being a kid, right? Riding that 50 for the first time. So the feedback I'm able to give is taken, right? Everybody who provides feedback, we have these meetings about new product and coming out, and everybody's providing feedback and kicking around ideas, and it's a pretty cool atmosphere that lets our product succeed.
So you feel like you get a fair shake and hands-on in what you guys are creating?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we really, the information we provide is really kind of taken back, and you could tell that, the engineers and the development guys and everybody from, so even someone on the factory that all gets taken in and really taken to heart.
Interesting. What has been your experience? Are you riding around this weekend? Are you hopping on a Grom or?
I haven't ridden too much around. This is probably my 5th or 6th year coming, right?
Okay.
But this year we had
Good
a bunch
job,
of guys.
Greg and Sonny, you guys doing great work with this.
Oh, those guys are killer.
Yeah.
Man, they have done an amazing job. I mean, building this from a field in Tennessee
That's what I hear.
to bringing it here to the greatest motorcycle museum on the planet, this beautiful track.
Well,
I mean,
it sounds like
phenomenal.
Mr. Barber reached out to Greg and said, we want this event at our place, which doesn't seem as pristine as the grass is. You guys do a great job of making it not so pristine.
Yeah, they've definitely done, I think a testament to them, right?
Yeah,
Then what they've been able to do, and that someone like from this museum and this facility goes to them and says, hey, bring your event to us. And so that's just super cool. We're so proud to be a part of it. I mean, these are, like you mentioned, 90% of these bikes are Hondas. And so for us, it's a nice give back to that customer. And like this weekend, we launched the 25 Grom here, right? It debuted on Thursday, and we had a bunch of people riding it around. We call it the Grom Prix.
Okay.
We did a little event on Friday night with a bunch of media guys. And so something that's super cool for us to get everybody that experience. So.
Yeah, rain or shine, you guys were out there.
That's right.
With with the Grom, how much development can even be there? I mean, you guys have already built a great machine. Is there a lot to be done with it, or is that just like you take feedback and you go, all right, I guess we're doing Navis?
We take a lot of feedback, so it's every couple years is like our development cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in 21, the Grom got a major upgrade, right? It got a whole new engine, 5-speed transmission, a lot of changes. Of course, the exterior changed. This year we took a lot of feedback. Some customers like, man, I love the engine. It's really great, but styling, I don't know, maybe I'm on the fence about it. A lot of people are like, oh, I really like it, but some people are like, I'm so about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we took that feedback back and we restyled it completely this year. So hopefully that customer feedback translated into something that they like.
Interesting. Well, and so from your vantage point, and from what I hear and just at the water cooler, America as it is, and it's been big bikes. We got a lot of distance to travel, but it seems that in moving into this EV space and all things like these smaller displacement bikes, you think of like a Thailand, Indonesia type place. Everybody's on a bike. It was just a part of life. They throw 5 people on it and roll out. Is America moving into that direction of like, we don't need a gold wing to get by? Like, I just need a smaller bike to and from. Is that something you guys are seeing?
A little bit. You do have kind of, if you look at like the customer base for the Grom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably half of the customers are somebody that this is an additional bike for them, right? They maybe own a big bike and this is their play bike. But the other half is new customers, like they don't have a bike or this is their first bike.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the customer we're really excited about, right? That they're using this to, get around town, go to work, and do things like that. And it provides a good platform for that. I mean, you're getting over 100 miles to the gallon on pretty much all of our mini motos. Yeah, it's up there, right? So yeah, I know. And so that's a good platform, and you see a lot of people using it as their daily commuter too, right? Especially because of the cost factor. Super easy, easy to own, cheap to operate, but still quality and fun, right? The fun factor too.
What's your daily driver? Are you riding in?
I have motorcycle-wise, I have a CBR 600, but I barely ride that one anymore. But I also have 2 Groms, so
one's not enough.
Yeah, exactly, right. You got to have 2, right? In case a friend comes over, you got to go. And PVC, I've done a lot of the mini moto racing on one of my Groms, so that kind of I got the bug in there. I did one endurance race with a couple buddies. Like I just happened to, I had one buddy who was like really into it, right? Racing his Grom like a lot.
Yeah.
And so he calls me up, he's like, hey, there's this endurance race, you should come out and do it. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I got a couple friends and we went out there, and from there it was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, right? You just
You
get to hang
dragging
out.
the knee?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Right? At first, you're kind of getting the hang of it. I've done big bike track days and then but you're out at the kart track just having a good time, and it's a little bit more like kind of cost effective instead of going to the big bike track day. You got the bike's a lot more expensive. You got more expensive tires.
A lot more risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For this, you're on a cart-sized track. And
What is that translation? So we have a lot of friends that are great riders, and they're out on track days. They're setting records. Good for them. When the entry is a Grom or whatever, and you tune it up for track days, how does that translate to a big bike? Like, can you throw your leg over this, and then after a year you go, all right, and then you perform on a big bike? Does it work like that, or is it like, oh no, that's another?
I think it does. I mean, I think you get you kind of get that feeling of you get the kind of the adrenaline rush a little bit, right? It's still a similar rush to riding on a big track, and then you kind of get to work on like, man, I really like focusing on this type of environment, right? You really kind of be able to hone in on concentrating on how your body's working, how it reacts with the bike, and build on that. So you get that kind of rush. You're like, all right, man, I'm really having a good time. I'm working on my lap times. I'm working on getting my knee out, and then that translates on later to where they're like, man, I really love doing that. Then I bought a big bike, and then I'm going to the track every so often. But a lot of people still keep that mini bike kind of as almost like, sometimes turns into like a training tool, right? Just to kind of keep yourself in shape a little bit to do that. And then some people just do it for fun, right?
Yeah.
Go out on the weekends, occasionally go out with the
Well,
family.
it's a much smaller footprint. You can have a great track out there and
For sure.
loop it.
Yeah.
With you said something earlier about Mr. Honda. Is that what everybody just kind of speaks in, like, oh, it's Mr. Honda? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't even consider, because however my brain compartmentalizes things, Honda cars, Honda engines, Honda motorcycles. Did Mr. Honda just by necessity also make cars, but he's always led by motorcycles? Like that's his true passion. He just happened to do it all. Like, do you guys have that kind of crossover, or are you guys very separate entities?
There's a lot of crossover, right? So we started making motorcycles like long before cars, right? And then kind of towards the late 60s, we were getting our big bike development was developing, right? We started with the small bikes. The bigger bikes were becoming more popular because I think you had that generation, hopefully what we're seeing now, right? The generation who rode smaller bikes to get around was getting older, and man, I have a little more disposable income, or a little better place in my life. I want to buy something a little bit bigger, maybe do a tour or get around better. So the big bikes started to grow, and at the same time, Mr. Honda really, he loved racing, right? That was a big part of kind of his mentality too. He even had a saying like, "Without racing, there is no Honda," and so he, started entering things like, they did Formula One and started developing cars at the time too. But they very much they kind of go to the spot mentality, right? Honda was known for small things, so they were looking at these smaller cars and they were developing them, but they realized, hey, the U.S. market, we got to develop something a little bigger, something a little more stout, right? Because that's what this market wanted. And so they started developing, cars like the Civic, in its early form, and focusing on fuel efficiency. And it kind of that whole the fuel crisis of that era really helped fuel that, and it became a big part of the company. And even to this day, I mean, I talk to the PR team at Auto weekly, right? We have meetings and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of events that we go to as a company, right? Like if you go to something like Overland Expo, right? You'll see there's a Honda Ridgeline or a Pilot and a Honda motorcycle and a Honda generator, and we make marine engines and water pumps, and so providing kind of products for all aspects of life that are going to be there when you want them or need them.
Yeah,
so.
That's fun that you guys can play in so many different markets. I think selfishly, when I picture what it is I'm doing and the people I'm talking to and how I'm operating, like people ask, is this a motorcycle show? It just happens to be that's a lot of my background, but this is an all the things show, and specific to, as you said, Overland. I think that'll be a fun area to take this experience, because there's so many different ways to play, and as you guys have found a home all across the board, I think I would like to do the same with what you guys do and how you do it, and having a hand in so many different markets. Is Ride Red a thing? Is that a thing? Ride Red, or is that?
Yeah, that's kind of our.
So is it like a Honda that like I ride a Honda, I drive a Honda, my generator's a Honda?
There are a lot of those customers. Like we come to these events, right? Whether it's here at Small Bore, we go to Daytona for Bike Week. I got a group of guys up in New York at Americade, and that is a big thing that we come across. Is people are like, man, they come up, they're like, I rode my Goldwing here, but I got a Honda Odyssey or a Ridgeline. I love that thing. I got a generator, and that's something that it hits you hard, right? You're like, man, like you get the full grasp of what you provide to people. So that's a really cool thing we encounter quite a bit.
Well, and even here at Barber, as many great historical pieces of art as they have in the museum, there's one that just grabs your attention. It's a motorsports museum, so they focus and cater to that, but there's a couple customs that slip in there, and there's a Honda custom it's got dragons on it. Have you seen that one upstairs?
No, which one is that?
It's like forgive me, I don't recall the model, but it's certainly a custom chopper.
Okay.
Stretched, raked. It's 1200, and it's covered in dragons.
Oh, nice!
And
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Purple paint, but it's my buddy sleeping out in the tent. He goes, of all the bikes here, he goes, I want that one. So it's interesting.
That's awesome.
So is there an end to what Honda wants to do, or like how do you guys expand past what you've already done, or is it just to fine tune?
I think that you're seeing a huge leap in not only just like kind of transport development in general, right? And I think that there is a lot of electrification going on, right? And Honda's not resting on that. Like they just released kind of the latest electric car, and I think that's going to kind of trickle down.
When you guys are able to share all that technology immediately, that's an open conversation for you guys?
Yeah.
That's
the
great.
R&D departments, they'll often work together and share products, like especially if someone from one group is like, hey, we're working on this, they'll reach out to another group and be like, hey, what platforms or what things do you have that we can use? And that's a huge advantage for us too. So
interesting. Well, specific to the small bore event, my background's traditionally been on the Harley side, or you name it. Getting to see all these smaller machines and then equally meet and talk with you guys, it's been a lot of fun because it's piqued my interest into the space, and I'm excited to see where I go within it. But with that, I'm super excited to have you on this morning. I don't want to hold you up. I know you guys got the last day on the docket, but this is now your time to shine. You can share to this camera, whatever you would like to bring attention to and or talk about.
I mean, for us, it's just an event like this at Small Bore. We just brought out the new Grom, like 2025 Grom, and something really cool that we hope customers like. But just in general, we hope that the products that we provide from Honda are what people enjoy, right? We want to be a company that society wants to be there. So being able to provide that product and have the options for people from whatever it is. You want to get your kid a dirt bike, you need some side-by-side ATV to work on your property, to just touring the US on a Goldwing. We want to provide something for everybody, and hope that when you get our product that you don't have to worry about it, you enjoy it, have a good time, and that keeps keeps Honda going.
Keeps the dream alive, guys.
That's right.
Well, and
exactly.
My small experience with Honda, I got a generator that has not turned off since I've been here because it gets a little steamy in this trailer. So I assume all things to work as well. I hope that you guys keep doing dope shit, and I'm excited to see where you go. But thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and until our next iteration, where do you think we're going to see each other next? What's on the docket for you guys?
What's on the docket next? We got a couple
I mean, you're
ATV.
out every other weekend, huh?
Yeah, we've got a couple like adventure rides. I think like maybe one of the I think Tour Tech or something. Tour Tech rallies coming up, and then we'll be at if you're going in the Overland Expos. We're at most of those too. So
it's an unfamiliar space to me, but maybe I'll use you as my gateway drug into that world, and you guys can tell me how that makes sense.
No, you'll get your rig here. Will get a lot of love at Overland Expo. I promise you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people will love it.
Well, until then, guys, hope to see you out there, and we'll see you maybe at the Overland Expo. Again, thank you, and then y'all have a good one. I think this is the last interview we're doing at Small Bore. Because I got to get out here.
Save the best for last.
That's
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yep.
That was it.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, even given our background, familiar friends, I had 1,000 questions that weren't about Honda.
Yeah.
But I honestly have such limited